What's up, everybody? Good morning. I think still now afternoon for some now. It's definitely morning for me, but I'm Anthony Cosenza. This is the Orange and Black Insider. Wanted to get to you. Big game, obviously, on tap. A lot of big games this weekend, obviously, but the logjam in the AFC is crowding the playoff picture, and the Bengals are in the thick of it. The Steelers still have a pulse. They are alive. They are in it, as they always seem to be. This time of year. It's just they never seem to really fully go away, even when it seems like they are down. And I just want to talk about some thoughts I had that we didn't really get a chance to talk about on the show that we did Wednesday night. John Sheeran and myself went through a lot of different things, matchups, keys, that sort of thing. I just had more thoughts because really I rewatched the Vikings-Bengals game from last week, and I rewatched that yesterday. And just some things kind of percolated, some different thoughts about this team. And if you know me, if you've listened to this show for a while, you know that I like to see both sides of an argument. You know that I like to, I guess I ride the fence a little bit. I don't know, but I like to see both sides of an argument. I see the merit in a lot of sides of an argument. I mean, if there's logic there, I try and see that. And so some of these thoughts that I had is where I waver on, there's a lot kind of here on that side, but there's, some stuff that makes sense on the other side. So I just want to talk through that for a couple of minutes. And then also we've got a DraftKings bet slip to get to for all of you. So definitely want to do that. And let's take a look. Andrew Woods is asking me what the weather is going to be in Pittsburgh. I didn't take a look at that. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. It appears to be, per the phone here, 47 degrees currently in Pittsburgh, cloudy with a 35% chance of rain, but the rain seems to be coming maybe later tonight. Looks like it's just going to kind of be cloudy today. So I'll see if, unless the rain came earlier today, not sure. But right now it just looks kind of cool and cloudy. So that's what the forecast calls for. It looks like as of right now, maybe a tiny bit of rain, but not quite sure. Thank you, Andrew, for the question. Appreciate that. He was asking what the weather's going to be in our live chat there. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things here. One of the things that I talked about, or one of the thoughts I had when rewatching the Bengals, and I talked about it if you read my game preview and or 5 questions with the enemy on Behind the Steel Curtain within the SB Nation Network on the Steelers site, or the game preview on CincyJungle.com that I do every week. I talked about this semblance of magic, and I look back at that game and I still look, both in the positive and the negative, I go, how did the Bengals win that game? How did the Bengals win that football game? There was a period of time in the first half where the Vikings were just kind of rolling, and they were rolling with the ground game. Ty Chandler was doing a lot of different stuff. And what struck me is just, even though this, especially when you're talking about the defense, when the backs were against the wall, when they were kind of getting pushed down the field, they came up with 2 just random red zone turnovers. And so with that, you go, okay, well, what's sustainable there, and what are these fluke plays? And John and I had talked in previous weeks about, in general, that Jaguars win, the Bengals being a fluke, or is it a trend? And then we kind of had the same argument the next week with the Colts. And now you go, okay, well, 3 straight, this is a trend. But some of the other plays that came about with the Bengals in that game, you go, man, how regular are these types of plays? How often can you rely on these types of plays? And the truth is, on one hand, you say, well, I mean, how often is that BJ Hill interception from Nick Mullins where the ball just kind of gets tossed right into his lap, bobbles around, he catches it? How often is that going to take place on a week-to-week basis? But somehow, on the flip side of that argument, somehow the Bengals keep making these plays every week. Somehow they keep weathering the storm every week. Even that Colts game, when you look at it and you go, okay, they won by like 3 touchdowns, right? 20 points, I think it was. That game got turned on its head on a dime, and it looked really bad for the Bengals right around halftime. The Colts got the pick 6 and tied the game up, and you're going, what is going on here? And things just changed in a hurry. And so, yet the Bengals just kind of weathered things. They made a couple of just off-the-wall plays in some of these games, and you go, okay, maybe it's just there. And Browning didn't look all that great for the better part, the middle-ish part of the game last week against Minnesota. The offense didn't really find its footing at that point, and then they scored in a flurry. They were down 14 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And again, somehow they made it work. So again, we have this fluke or trend type of argument where we go, okay, yeah, we like to think that the Bengals are a trend at this point and will continue on. And the sample size has proven that at this point. But at the same time, you have these just kind of off the wall plays where you go, man, these are just random plays. And so does the magic run out? Does it just continue? Does this team just have it because of the belief that they've shown in themselves, even when Joe Burrow went down? So this magic may not be the best term for it, but that's just kind of the word that the phrase that I've been using, because Browning's kind of showed some semblance of magic in these comeback wins and all of that. The other thing that is both concerning, but also you got to point to the positive, is 2 of these 3 wins were deep into overtime. You look at maybe fatigue, you look at, that's essentially maybe an extra full quarter of play over the last 3 weeks. And then, of course, the injuries are piling up and you go, oh, man. But it's also showing that these teams can hang with good teams. This team can hang with playoff caliber teams, and they can come back and win in seemingly daunting situations with a backup quarterback, with guys going out of the lineup. So when does the magic run out, if at all? When does it run out, if at all? And that's something to kind of think about today. I wanted to also talk about who might make some plays for the Bengals. Don't need to harbor this one too much, but I look at the tight ends in this one. I think Tanner Hudson and others, those guys are going to potentially get their looks, especially with Jamar Chase being out for this one. Of course, T. Higgins, but I'm also keeping an eye on Tyler Boyd, who seems to make his share of plays against the Pittsburgh Steelers, his old hometown team, as well as Charlie Jones. Remember, last week, the Bengals had a big play dialed up to Charlie Jones, and there was a mix-up there. So I don't, some people are blaming Charlie Jones for slowing up at one point. Some people say, oh, overthrow for Browning. That sort of thing. So I look at on offense with these injuries and Chase being out. Yes, the tight ends. Yeah, Higgins too. But keep an eye on Boyd and Charlie Jones doing some different things out of the slot and other areas on the field. Maybe some other the short controlled passing where they kind of move the chains a little bit there too. Keep in mind the Steelers secondary, particularly at the safety position, is pretty decimated at this point in time. So that's something to think about this week. Of course, the pass rush is ferocious from the Steelers. Of course, that front is daunting to face, but I think the Bengals may be able to do some different things without a Minkah Fitzpatrick, DeMonte Kazee, and others in the lineup. It sounds like Patrick Peterson is going to slide back and play some safety. They may not ask him to do a whole lot, but savvy veteran there. We'll see. Here, quickly, another quick thought. AFC North coaches, I put out a tweet from the 33rd team just responding to the fact that Zach Taylor wasn't in this conversation for coach of the year. And unfortunately, some people, the Browns faithful mostly saying, oh, and it's not a slight to Kevin Stefanski. I think he's done an excellent job. I think Tomlin's done an excellent job. But I think also Zach Taylor deserves some credit for coach of the year consideration. All of the AFC North coaches do, quite honestly. But I think that is something to think about with the coaching staff, et cetera. But I will say this, for those who listen to or watch Parks and Recreation, the old show on NBC, Ron Swanson, who is a really funny character on that show, noted something to the effect of, don't go chasing, or don't go award chasing, that pathway leads to madness. And, that may be true here. I guess I'm just kind of saying, hey, give Zach Taylor some run, recreating the offensive system a small handful of times at this point. You're seeing the work that Jake Browning has done. And then, of course, the Bengals just kind of overcoming various injuries. We'll see what happens the rest of the way here. But, hey, keep Zach in mind on this one here for sure. All right, let's get to some bets here before we hop on out of here. And I just want to say that first of all, if you are new here, welcome. Appreciate it. We don't normally do pregame shows like this. We usually do postgame reports, but big game called for an extra episode and just some additional thoughts that we get to. And I got to cut it short. I don't know if you're hearing, my kids are making all kinds of weird noises outside there, and I gotta go keep an eye on them. But that being said, I want to go to the DraftKings bet slip here. I'll share this with you all. All right, here you go. This is the picks that we have decided to get to here now. This is not the guarantee. These are the picks that you got to make. We don't make guarantees around here. But the thing that I do want to mention is that we feel pretty good about this. So go to DraftKings and maybe think about making some of these bets. Here's the parlay we did here. 4 picks, a plus 525 total, over 17.5 points scored by the team, by the Bengals. Bengals race to 10 points. Over 234.5 Jake Browning passing yards. That's a lofty one. But again, the safeties are a mess for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over 1.5 Jake Browning passing touchdowns. So a little lofty here, but those are the bets that we have come. Again, throughout this season, we're cooking up our own parlay that our good friends at DraftKings will put right on their homepage for all of you, our loyal fans, to follow. And of course, we just went through the parlay here, these 4 picks at plus 525. Here's kind of why we feel that this is, again, it's really the defense. It's really the wild card that is Mason Rudolph here. So, take a look at these, think about it. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football for terms of eligibility and, of course, responsible gaming resources. So go check that out. Have some fun. And, of course, as I mentioned, if you are new here, appreciate you tuning in. You can get this show by tuning in on our YouTube channel. Click the show button to subscribe and the bell to be notified when new content is available and when we go live. Go get the Cincy Jungle podcast channel, including our show, Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends, the stuff that Coach Matt Minnick does. And, of course, 3 and Out with Jason and Kevin on your favorite audio streamer, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of the major ones. We are there. I got to bail. My kid's knocking at the door here. I don't even get 15 minutes to do a show. But take care, everybody. Enjoy the game. We'll be back with a post-game report a little later, and we'll see you soon.